everybody. Welcome to this episode of Cinema Crunch. My name is Rose Donahue, and we're filming at the Quantum Arc Media Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. My guest today has a very unique perspective about live events since she has run her business as the CEO and lead strategist for over 17 years. We'll be speaking with Cindy Lowe of Red Velvet Events. Cindy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me, Rose. I appreciate it.
And I'll make sure I got that right. Chief Event Strategist. So thank you for your work doing that. Love it. So 17 years running and owning a business. What inspired you to get started in the first place?
So I always tell people it was a happy accident, actually. I started in corporate America in software, but I wasn't doing events for the software company. I was actually doing project management. Unfortunately, 9/11 hit, and I was part of the area where we were in New York, New Jersey area for a client. And of course, everything kind of paused and took a moment. And so we were offered a chance to kind of maybe take a break, reevaluate what we wanted to do. And during that time of kind of looking, reflecting, I decided that I wanted to pivot. And so a lot of my friends had encouraged me to go into the events field. Now, what was interesting is I didn't know that this could be a career. I knew working in hotels, I knew volunteering at a nonprofit or even running the nonprofit would be a career, but I really didn't realize what I do for a living, the live events agency side, was an actual possible career. And so I kind of got lucky. And it was because of rejection. That's how I started Red Velvet Events. And I have no regrets. So that's why I tell people it's a happy accident.
Yeah. Wow, that works out great. It's so true. Having a moment of introspection can really guide you on the right path, as difficult as it may have been in the moment.
Totally.
Were there some skills that you noticed that you were building in the software field that you brought over to the events realm?
Yes. And in fact, I'm going to plug my book because I actually talk a lot about it because
Please do.
I honestly didn't know that I was recognizing that those two were hand in hand because they are very different parts of the brain, your left and your right brain. But the things that carried over were definitely process management, identifying what process were repeatable, which processes need to be filed, which processes needed to be kind of fine tuned to keep track of all the details. I'm a big tech junkie. So when it came to when Google Drive first came out, because remember, 17 years ago, none of that stuff existed. Even Dropbox, Box.net, Slack,
Totally.
all of these cloud-based software tools never existed before then. So as I was getting into the field, I was recognizing what was kind of manual, and I would oftentimes raise my eyebrow and go, hey, what about if we do it this way? Because I want to be more efficient. And I then started teaching classes to other event planners on how to be more efficient. So.
It's always good to share your knowledge with others, right?
Absolutely.
Think more and more in this day and age, because there is so much information available out there, to be someone that's a generous resource and credible resource really puts you above others who aren't as sharing.
Well, I always tell people, I'm not going to know everything. And in fact, coming into the industry, I didn't know a lot of the jargon. I didn't know a lot of what was normal protocol, pricing. And so as I was kind of teaching myself, I, of course, was willing to help out and teach people what I already knew too from the software side. So it was a very good marriage, I call it. Blending of the two.
I love it. No, that's such a good point. I think that a lot of people get caught up with live events just being like a fun thing that you go do and then it's over and it was so easy. But the amount of production that goes into it is unbelievable. And in a way, it's a good thing. The guests don't worry about the production. You're the guest. But if you're in the industry, you want to know those nitty gritty things.
Absolutely.
And you guys do a range of stuff. We've got corporate events, you have creative services, you're a DMC, custom productions. So you really have to have processes in place, I'm sure, to manage all of those different elements.
Absolutely. And it also comes down to our talent. Our talent definitely is what defines us and helps us set us apart. So we have different people on the team that know how to execute a giant production versus a local DMC stands for Destination Management Company. And that is focused on the groups that come to Austin. And I have a very sweet spot for that because again, we grew up in Austin, and a lot of the opportunities we've been given started here. But now we've spread our wings and we're kind of going back to what we originally started, which is we go outbound. And what that means in our world is we travel with our clients. If we start with a client early on and growing and scaling their business and figuring out what problems we're solving with live events, we'll grow with them as they go to different destinations and planning their events.
What a great way to develop an ongoing relationship, right?
Yeah.
So you're across the country just branching out as you go.
We are. And when we're there, because we know the DMC side in Austin, we actually utilize DMCs in the other places. So I love the fact that our team knows how to best utilize the DMC. So we know that we don't know it all. We know what it takes to know that local resource. And I'm very grateful that we have them in all the major cities, because most events do fall into some of the major categories because of whether they have a lot more events, venue spaces, or they draw a lot of trade shows. And that tends to be our focus since it's corporate.
Sure, absolutely. Well, of course, for us being based in Vegas, all sorts of events, trade shows, corporate parties, and a bunch of DMCs all in one place here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you done many events in Vegas?
We have. We usually do at least two, maybe three a year. Again, ours isn't so much about quantity of events; it's actually about the size and the quality of the event. So I'm pretty thrilled when we can usually get two or three under the belt for the year in
Yeah,
Vegas,
I know.
because that's a pretty big market.
I understandably, absolutely. And I think that, as you were saying, the quality of event rather than quantity of events, it sounds like another very strategic element that you're applying to your business.
Very much so, intentional. I always tell our team, we're in a very lucky spot, which is we don't have to dig ourselves out of any debt. We're 100% debt free. So for us to be picky and choosy on which clients we work with, it's actually a matter of pride. So we oftentimes like to find clients that share the same company culture as us, and also they have this strong desire to do events very differently for a very intentional purpose, whether it be to sell more product or to motivate their team, or maybe to launch a new item into a market that they've never done before, and they want to do it in a different way.
Mm, that makes a lot of sense. And so you mentioned company culture, and then you mentioned earlier about the talent you have in-house. What are
Yeah.
some things that you guys practice to keep that enthusiasm amongst your team?
So this is something that's definitely evolving over time, because I admit I'm probably not the best when it came to, like, of course, I was very proud of the team. We would always have these celebrations, but a lot of people, as they got to know me better, they sometimes said that I was so eager to move on to the next thing after we won, and it wasn't like I celebrated long enough. And so I actually leaned on a lot of on our managers to kind of help me celebrate the wins better with our team. As far as what makes our talent different is, well, we take the time. Again, we don't try to rush through the interview process, but we really try to find the people that are going to emulate our company culture through and through. They recognize that these clients hire us because they put in a lot of trust in us to produce these events. So you can't just say, well, it's just my job, or, oh, it's their money. You really need to believe in what we're trying to do and trying to better their outcomes to really, take this job to another level. As far as our keeping the culture going, we're a very open book company, very transparent. And I like to share with the team what's going on, both me and I like the team to share back, and give us feedback on what's working, what's not working. And when we hear something that's not working, we do take a step back and figure out, okay, so is this not working because, we're not setting the proper expectations, or was there some miscommunication, or maybe is there a better way of doing this? Then I'll even go to my other fellow CEO friends to ask, because I know I don't know it all, and I want to make sure that we're giving the best benefits.
Yeah. Um, the perspective of recognizing you don't know it all, I feel like, is so valuable for anyone taking on any new project, or even with years of experience, recognizing there's always something new. So I appreciate that you have that perspective and that you're open to asking for help. That's invaluable.
It did take with time, because trust me, at the beginning, when you have no resources, meaning as in you didn't have the revenue, and maybe you didn't even have the luxury to know all the people, sometimes you're always like, oh, I just got to do it. I just got to do it. But I'm so grateful that we finally got to a stage in our career that we could do both, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, so some people would have said it taking probably a little longer.
Right, right. And as you mentioned earlier, it was 17 years ago. So, like, the internet wasn't the place
Mhm.
that it is today. Um,
Oh, very much.
yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit about your experience seeing how the internet's developed over that time, and then I have some follow-up questions about, social media and
Yeah.
content.
So one of the things I told people in the book is I go, man, if the internet was what it is today, even half of that, okay, when I first started, I think I could have started the business and gotten it to a much higher level
Mm.
faster because there are so many more resources now, not only cheaper, but free. And Google, oh my gosh, can help you go to a whole nother level. So if people are now just starting out, I always tell people first take the time to understand if you have zero experience, just spend a couple weeks and learn the industry from what you can find online because you will be amazed that there is a resource, an abundance of resources out there. Second is using social media to your advantage because there are some free tools and those are what I consider marketing tools. So I was one of the very early ons that adopted Twitter, partly because they came to South by Southwest. And second, I came again from a tech background. So I do have a tendency to have this like sense of curiosity of
Mm.
like, well, what is this? How would I use it? So I might have squatted on the name or, for a little bit, but I oftentimes would see it and I would sit on it and observe it. So a perfect
Oh.
example at this very moment is I'm observing TikTok.
Ah,
I've squatted on the
yes.
name, but I haven't produced anything because I don't know if it's necessarily the right channel for us, but I am trying to understand who is, is this market serving? How can it help increase sales? And is there a client of ours that could benefit from it?
Mm.
So those are the things that I'm looking at it from all those angles.
That's a very, yes, again, strategic way to go about looking at
Yeah.
the internet and social media. Um, so, your business is kind of about creating moments for people in some ways,
Yeah.
especially I think with, productions, live events, and
Mhm.
a lot of the messaging today is that people are much more interested in experiences than things.
Yeah,
Would you say that that's
absolutely.
definitely been true from your perspective?
100%. 100%. Absolutely. And that's why we've even tried to educate some of our clients because when they come to us and go, I just need an activation. That's the industry jargon when they say, hey, I want something like other than just a photo booth, I need an activation. The challenge is I usually will push back and go, well, what's the purpose?
Mm.
Because again, you don't want to just do an activation, but if it has no intention, no tie back to your messaging, to your goals, it doesn't make any sense at all. So what we want to do is we want to understand again, what are we trying to achieve at the end of the day? Is it for people to walk away and go, be wowed, that brand really does know what XYZ is for the future. And so how do we tie in maybe a photo booth or maybe a creative activation station that would tie in that messaging? Because we just don't want to just do an activation for the sake of doing an activation. We really truly want it to tie back to the messaging and the strategy. And that's to me is what makes our job fun, but yet challenging because any of the really big companies, they're not going to want to repeat what other people are doing.
Mm.
So if they've already done some of the things, like for example, I still remember when the first company at South by Southwest did one of those pit balls. And the reason why they wanted to do a pit ball, of course, was because of the Instagrammable moment.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their tagline on the front of the pit ball. But I was like, when someone else came to us and says, hey, I want to do the same thing, I said, wait, let's make sure we're doing it for the right reasons because it's very easy for me to just put a pit ball with your color, balls in there. But I want to think about why again. Is it because we're trying to Instagram something, we're trying to make it go viral? Or maybe are we trying to get your team to relax and use the phrase like jump into the future together or something? We got to figure out what that messaging is. So, but no, for sure, right now, experiences and live events are the top of the rung when it comes to events. It's not just about a party with good food.
Yeah.
Food matters, but it's not about that.
I hope food will always matter simply for my own event attendee experience, but absolutely the experiences as well. Okay, so definitely a highly valuable element of event planning today. So How valuable are you finding capturing those moments are, whether with
Uh,
photography or
yeah.
videography?
I would say it's very important. And I would say it's even more important to making sure that you plan in advance, because you don't want to just send your videographer out there and just say, hey, capture every moment. You want to, again, practice pitching what the story is going to be.
Mm,
So recently, when we met with a videographer, we sat down and we said, this is what the event entails from beginning to end: setup, day of, tear down. But this is what the client's goals are for the event. So when we are videotaping and getting our, what I call our B-roll, we want to make sure we are focusing on the energy that we're wanting to convey. We want to make sure the messaging is all, because when they, of course, stitch it all together and edit it back, we want it to feel like they're telling us that really short story in that 20 to 30 seconds. And so that's the most important piece. And so to me, I always tell people, if you have invested even, let's say, $100,000 into an event, you should definitely hire a professional photographer and videographer to recapture and retell the story. Because after all, people have real things like FOMO. And if they see it, then they're going to be like, wow, next time I don't want to miss out on that. Or maybe next time they're like, wow, did you see XYZ brand did this? This is very outstanding. Like, maybe we can emulate them. So it's a matter of how far you want to take your marketing dollars. And
hmm.
so I think it's well worth it, because events we set up and tear down so fast, you don't have anything but the memories of the video and the photos.
Right. So it's not only beneficial to the people who are at the event who want to remember it forever, but also to the
Yeah.
people who couldn't make it, who wish they were there. They want to live
Um,
vicariously through that content, and for the business itself, and just expanding their footprint, the internet footprint, their marketing
yep.
footprint.
Totally. And one of the things too, we're starting to do, but it really does depend on the client of how strong of a following they have on social media, which is we actually will hire a live person to help us post, like live, either live video,
Sure.
live posting, so that they're actually helping tell the story live during the event. So it's not left to the client to worry about, but we actually have someone that we're telling them, again, this is what we want to convey. You need to capture it in the essence, like, oh, so and so's right there, and approaching us on, or about to give the keynote, and
Cool.
we want them to feel like they were there.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to, it's sort of a more interactive way to incorporate video for those there or
Yeah.
away, tuning in online. Are there other kind of interactive elements that you see coming up in the future with video and events?
So this is what's interesting. So I mean, because of the timing of this, and hence why I asked earlier, how soon would this be released? Because right now we're kind of going through the coronavirus, epidemic, and this is on the sad side. But one of the things we're realizing is that even though I know some places are on lockdown, we still have to produce our events.
Mm,
And so we're thinking, how can we make sure that we stay connected with those folks that can't be there? So we're making sure all of our clients that do have an international audience have all their high speed, video, filming abilities, and also to be able to connect with it. And hopefully we can continue to share what they're missing, or make them still feel a part of it, even though maybe they may be in quarantine. You know,
wow, that's a
because unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be a short term, quarantine. I wish it was.
We all hope for that. Absolutely, absolutely. And I hadn't really thought about how current events obviously impact everyone's events, whatever work you're doing, whatever field you're in. This will certainly have a big impact globally, but to be conscientious of it now and planning for that now makes a lot of sense for you as an event planner. And again, strategic and
Yeah.
very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. I mean, I would certainly, if I was in lockdown anywhere, if I could have some connection to the outside world and other things that are
Mhm.
important to me, I would have absolutely value that. So,
Yeah.
wow. Well, we're reaching the end of our interview. It always flies
Oh,
by. I
wow.
know. I know. Um,
Well, thank you for bearing with me this earlier
oh
today.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what it's like, live events for us, it's live recording stuff. We work it out, we figure out the nuts and bolts, and we make it happen. So I appreciate your go-to attitude getting it figured out as well.
Mhm.
So closing remarks, people should check out your book, Behind the Red Velvet Curtain, Building and Running an Event Planning Business of Your Dreams. And then they can check out redvelvetevents.com. And where else should they check out? Social media, all this stuff. Let people know where to find you.
We definitely on Instagram, and it's the Red Velvet Events as well as the handle. And we are definitely on Facebook, but the biggest ones are probably Instagram, our website, and which will lead you to our YouTube channel and whatnot. We're definitely updating all the time.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm going to do a little outro, but if you can just hold tight for a second, we'll wrap up after we finish our recording. Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning into this episode of Cinema Crunch. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us some sparkly stars on iTunes and a review. If you're checking it out on YouTube, we would love a comment and a like. Be sure to subscribe to Cinema Crunch on iTunes, YouTube, and wherever you're getting your content. And be sure to like Quantamark Media on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on future episodes and other projects we're working on. Again, my name is Rose Donahue. This has been a pleasure, and I'll catch you later.